When Wade proposed to me, it was the best day of my life. I was really excited to get married.
Wade Anderson, will you have this woman then to be your wife?
I do.
And Elizabeth Dunbar, will you have this man to be your husband?
I do. Leading up to the wedding, it was just too much for me. And after the wedding, I had a breakdown. You know, this was supposed to be the exciting time of my life, and I wasn't functioning very well. I started to be paranoid. I thought that if I was showering, the thieves were getting in to steal my wedding gifts. I thought the people who were coming in my apartment, maybe poisoning my food, so I stopped eating. Yeah. So Wade thought I had an eating disorder because I was so thin.
Pretty much right after the honeymoon, when we got back, she was starting to act a little bit, I'm going to say odd. We thought that a lot of it had to do with just, you know, new relationship, new wedding, and jitters being married and settling in.
I wasn't happy. I was convinced that we were being followed. I was sure we were in danger, and I accused him of not protecting me.
Your paranoia had really escalated that day, and I thought, I have to do something. We can't continue like this. And that's when I pulled into the general hospital. My heart was just pounding. It was just racing, because I didn't even really know what it would mean once she went through the door, if I got her through the door. I had no idea what was going to be on the other side.
He said, go in there and tell the doctors what you're experiencing. If they tell me to call the police, that's what I'll do. And it was enough for me. I got up and I thought, I'll go in there and tell them everything. They're going to call the police. I want this resolved. So I marched into the hospital willingly. First you see a student nurse, then a nurse, then a resident doctor, then a resident psychiatrist, then a psychiatrist. For me, it took 17 hours. And they admitted me. And it was such a shock. I didn't know how to navigate that. I didn't have any ability to fight the decision. I was out of tears, out of adrenaline, out of wherewithal. It never occurred to me that it was a mental illness. And I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. It was very disconcerting to realize that my senses had lied to me, that all the things that I'd thought were wrong, and I had a lot of problems that I didn't know I had. So all the problems of people coming in and everything probably wasn't true. And that was hard to accept, because I thought that for a very long time, and very entrenched thought. I was unaware that I was hearing voices. The people in the hospital kept asking me if I heard voices, and I kept saying no. I got home and I felt I was so desperate not to be sick. And I thought, if I just have my medication, I won't be as sick. It's flawed thinking, but I thought that. And so I have my medication, and I heard this big booming voice that said, you better clean up this house or your husband will never come home. And I started to cry. I thought, oh my God, that's a voice. And I'd never been aware of it up until that point. And that was after I was home from the hospital. So I ended up in a hospital again, came out much wiser, committed to my medication, committed to the recovery, more acceptance about that I had schizophrenia.
It was difficult, because now there's a label of mental illness, and then of course all the stigma that you hear about starts to come in. I'm going to say I fit the I fix it stereotypical male to a T, because I do fix things. The lamp breaks, I fix the lamp. The car breaks, I fix the car. The washing machine breaks, I fix the washing machine. That's what I do. And the one thing that I care the most about in my life, I can't fix. I wasn't sure that I was ready for this. So I sat Elizabeth down and said, I don't know if I can stay in this relationship. I don't know if I can do this. And I go back to my vows, And I remember saying, you know,
in sickness and in health,
through anguish and affection,
through anguish and affection,
through tears and laughter.
through tears and laughter.
and I went back to that and said, yeah, I said I do. And I meant that. And at that point, then I said, in for a penny, in for a pound, and I'm here, and I'll stay.
Mental illness is our only kind of problem. We've worked everything else out. And it's not a problem because we're managing. And we've been married 23 years, 24 years this September. I'm living proof that you can recover from a mental illness and that you can have a good life and you can get back to what you were doing before you were so rudely interrupted.